Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on Elite Academy and welcome back to our daily issue analysis there. Let's start the discussion for the day. So today we have taken this topic of minimum support price, and why it was in news. It was in news because Sanjay Agarwal committee has been constituted by center, and it is also known as the is being called as MSP panel. So there are three tasks which has been given to the panel, as you can see on the screen. So one is related to MSP, second is related to natural farming, and the third one is related to crop diversification. So with respect to MSP, the committee has to tell that how MSP can be made more effective and transparent for the farmers, and what autonomy should be given to CACP for the determination of the MSP. With respect to natural farming, the focus is the committee has to focus on that how and what strategies we can bring in order to make Krishi Vigyan Kendra and other research institute as a knowledge center to contribute towards natural farming, and also they have to suggest on the setting up of the chains with respect to organic certification, because we are talking a lot about organic foods, organic products, but with respect to certification we are talking a lot of things are yet to be done, because if there will be authenticity, then only people will buy, then only we can export, and then only we can decide the products, the cost as well. Otherwise, on the name of organic, we also know what people are selling. Okay, just you put anything organic and the cost is being increased like anything. Third area is related to crop diversification. So a map has been asked to prepare with respect to the cropping pattern, and also to it has been asked to suggest that how in what manner the prices can be made more remunerative for the farmers who are selling these new crops. So let's see what this committee is going to recommend, and it is a 29-member committee which has been constituted, and also in the backdrop of after 8 months, when the farm bills has been taken back by the government, after 8 months this committee has been formed, and when the farmers were protesting, they were protesting against this only. They wanted to give a statutory backing, legal banking to MSP, and the three farm bills they were silent on MSP. However, the assurance was given by the central government that no, MSP is going to stay, there is no problem. Okay, so let's analyze what is MSP and what are the issues related with it. So before we proceed to understand MSP in detail, let's understand the definition of MSP. So MSP is the price at which the government is supposed to procure or buy a particular crop from farmers if the market price falls below it. Okay, so it is a kind of assurance given to the farmers that okay, don't worry, government is there with you, and this is the price. If nobody is buying from you at this price, we are going to procure from you. Okay, so it is a kind of assurance to the farmers from government side. So let's understand the historical background of MSP. So MSP was introduced in mid 60s when India was having or struggling with food deficit. Then government was keen on introducing the domestic production. So at that time, government of India wanted to boost the domestic production in order to meet the food deficit. And then was the time when we came up with green revolution technologies, which was revolving around input intensive high yielding wheat and paddy. But the farmers were having their own reservation, and it was realized that why farmers will go ahead with this, because of the input intensive, the cost was also very heavy. It was that time when government came up with a guaranteed minimum price, and that was the time when MSP was first fixed for wheat in 1966 and 67 at rupees 54 per quintal. So that is the evolution of the MSP and how it came into picture and why it was required. Let's analyze the issues. Now we will discuss about the pros of the MSP. So MSP has definitely helped farmers. It has helped the farmers to protect. It has given protection against any kind of price volatility in the market. So if there is any kind of price volatility, at least farmers are sure that they will get this minimum support price, and their produce will be procured. So that is one protection. The second is related to incentives. So it gives incentive to farmers to grow specific crops. Sometimes if let's say government is announcing this much MSP will be given for pulses. So pulses, the production of pulses will be there, and the farmers will have incentives to grow pulses. So that way it acts as incentives. Also, it acts as a benchmark. It acts as a price signal beyond which prices cannot fall for the given commodity, or it like that is a floor for, as we'll see. It also helps in the floor price for the private traders, as you can see the fifth point. So it acts as a floor price for private traders. Also it ensures definitely food security, because accordingly the farmers, they will produce the commodities, be it wheat, rice. So it has given a prediction. So thus it acts as a food security. Also, we discussed in the starting that why, what was the context in which this MSP was given. So we were already struggling with the food shortage, and green revolution was introduced, because of which high input yielding seeds were introduced, and that required MSP, that required support. Then farmers took this, and it ensured food security. Next is it also influences the production, because agriculture production, if it is suitable for, let's say, changing needs is there, or it is suitable for a specific set of consumers, and for that if MSP is introduced, then it influences the production. It has the potential to influence the agriculture production according to the suitable needs of the consumer. So that's why these are the pros, and MSP has really helped. Now we will discuss about the negatives, the cons. Now we will understand the cons related to MSP. So the cons are related to, the first one is it has distorted cropping pattern. So we know, and in fact Shanta Kumar committee in 2015 has also analyzed that how this MSP support has distorted the prices, or the distorted the cropping pattern in favor of wheat and rice, and also it has led to skewed incentive structure, where because of green revolution the whole structure has been skewed, and it is in favor of certain crops, and there is shortage of crops like pulses and oil seeds. If we analyze with the help of data this incentive skewed incentive structure, then after the introduction of MSP, the growth of wheat and rice, if we analyze wheat and rice, then it has increased from 30 million to 40 million hectares, the cropping. And with respect to rice, it is from 9 million to 31 million. But if we analyze the coarser grains, then it has reduced. It has reduced from 37 million to 25 million. So basically, it is hampering the diversification, and this whole structure has got skewed, as leading to sometimes shortage of pulses and oilseed, and we are importing pulses. In fact, it has been also analyzed that the trade policy works independently of MSP policy. So this MSP policy is no way affecting our trade policy also, and because of that, many times we have to import the pulses, which is coming at prices much below of MSP. So that is also one of the problem. Next is related to regional imbalance. So with respect to regional imbalance, MSP has favored northwestern part of the country more, that is Punjab and Haryana. There also it has been found that the areas where the irrigation is good, there this is working, MSP is working well. But the most of the India, that is around 68% of Indian agriculture is rain fed, and there we find mostly drought resistant nutritious staple crops, which is not only good for the region, but also it is good for the poor farmers. But because of MSP, those crops are not getting not coming to the limelight, or in fact you can say because of that most of the regional crops, they are losing their essence, they are losing their identity, because more and more farmers are taking up this wheat and rice. So you might have heard from your parents about kodo, about ragi, about these courses cereals. So we are losing out that diversity, so it is hampering diversification. Okay, that is another problem. Also, rich farmers are getting more benefited from this. Next issue is related to environmental impact. So environmental impact, MSP has affected because it came after green revolution, so more and more farmers are going for rice and wheat. So it has led to soil degradation, and it is leading to monoculture, so susceptibility to pest attack is more. more uses of chemical fertilizer and pesticide is affecting the groundwater. It is affecting the overall health of the farmers and the consumers as well. Groundwater pollution is happening. So these are the problems related to environment. Also, there is lack of awareness. There was a data that by Shanta Kumar committee, only 6% of the Indian farmers are getting benefited from MSP, and rest of the, and that too, rich farmers are getting more benefited. Rest of the farmers, they are not even aware of it, or they are not aware of that how they should avail the benefits of MSP. So that is a challenge. Okay, limited procurement is happening. So it has been observed that around 23 crop for 23 crops only MSP is announced, and that too, in that also procurement is specific to certain crops only, and mostly related to wheat and rice. It is not happening. The procurement for rest of the crops is not happening. So that is a challenge. Next challenge or next con is that whatever MSP is announced, it is not in pace with inflation. It is not linked with inflation. So MSPs are announced, but in the present day inflation of the crops is something else. So it is not in sync with that, and the farmers are not able to get the realistic benefit of MSP. They are not able to get the realistic payback in sync with the market. According to the demand, they are not getting it back because inflation is acting as a is depleting the benefits. Okay, and the last one is related to that. With respect to MSP, there is no legal enforcement. However, many times committees have told that when it is creating distorting impact, we cannot give legal backing. But yeah, farmers they demand, and from their point of view, there is no legal enforcement. It is not there is no legal guarantee vested on the MSP. The minimum rate cannot be forced on the buyer since it is an indicative and desired price. It is not a mandatory price. So these are the consequences. So what you have to do again, you have to analyze. You have to analyze with the help of data. You should analyze with the help of the your analysis and your observation. Sometimes you use data, sometimes you use example, sometimes you use your own observation. Then only it will be a fine balance with respect to the answer writing. Now we have seen the consequences. Let's understand the alternatives which has been suggested by different committees and scholars. So the first alternative which has been suggested is area planning approach based on the local consumption, based on the agroclimatic conditions. So it has been recommended that we should have agroclimatic zones where we are understanding the different climate indicators, be it the rainfall, soil, or the temperature, and based on that the whole area is being planned for agriculture. So area planning approach will help in deciding the specific areas, what is suitable and good for the coastal conditions, what is good for the northwestern part of the country, what is good for central part of the country, what is good for the hilly areas. So if we have area planning approach, based on that area planning approach, we can not only understand people's need, but it will be also suitable that we will be able to get better yield according to the local consumption, according to the climatic conditions. So that's why it is being recommended that be very particular, be very specific about the areas, what they need and what is the suitable condition. Then deficiency system price deficiency payment system. So this price deficiency payment system is a system where farmers are free to sell their produce open in the market, and if the market price falls below the MSP, the government steps in and they make a deficiency payment which is equal to the difference between MSP and market price. However, this system doesn't involve any active procurement, any public procurement. The cost on the account of procurement, storage and distributions are avoided. Okay, so this system retains the incentive effects of MSP without any procurement. And in fact, this was experimented by Madhya Pradesh government in 2018, and the name was Bhavantar Bhugtan Yojana, the where the farmers were given the differential price as a compensation, but there was no procurement. But this pilot project was not continued in the next year. So if we continue that, then only we will get to know that how and what kind of impact it is creating. Also, there was another suggestion that we should have government should create one index of the farmers based on the different indicators related to information on the irrigated area, land, types of crops, produced on an average, insurance cover, weather vulnerability. So if we have an index of all these parameters, then we will be able to decide that where, what kind, which area needs, or which type of according to the gradation, we will be able to decide what kind of price support should be given. If somebody needs more hand holding, then more hand holding will be given, more price support will be given from the government side. So it is very logical, and it adds more value. It will be more logical, it will be data led governance, it will be data led production, evidence based policy making, you can say. So this is also one of the suggestion. And the last one was suggested by Shanta Kumar committee in 2015. It recommended that the FCI should hand over all the procurement operations of wheat, paddy to the states, because the states have reasonable infrastructure, they have reasonable experience of procuring the or managing the crops in their state. States like Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Punjab, they are capable. Odisha, Chhattisgarh, they are capable. And it was also recommended that FCI should accept only those produce which are surplus. Thus, FCI should not bother about managing the procure crops, where to keep, and we have seen the irregularities on the part of FCI. That's why this recommendation was there. Okay. So with respect to way forward, we can see that the Niti Aayog's market intervention scheme is there, which is there to procure the perishable items and the horticulture items on the similar lines with MSP. Since we know that MSP is related to only 23 crops and not all the crops, not everything is covered. So MIS is a price support mechanism which is implemented on the request of the state governments for the procurement of perishable and horticulture commodities in the event of fall in the market price. So this is one thing, at least one gap is getting filled. Okay, next one is price deficiency payment, which we have already seen, where there is no procurement happening but the price difference is being paid as a compensation to the farmers. And the important aspect which we should write in the way forward is that we need to increase the funding on agriculture research. On the eve of union budget, economic survey has also highlighted this, that the more we invest in agriculture funding, research and development yields, here the development will be more, it will yield better returns when if we compare it on investing more on subsidies or inputs like fertilizers or subsidies on the other inputs. So economic survey is also recommended that more funding should be there on agriculture research, because then only we will be able to understand the extreme weather events, how to link it with agriculture, what kind of crop suitability is good, crop is suitable with respect to the climatic conditions according to the people needs. So we need to more invest more on agriculture research. So with this, you will end your observation, you will end your point and conclusion, and give a futuristic conclusion that yes, if we invest more, then potential is high, because we have so much of diversity, climatic diversity, the diverse needs are there. So no uniform MSP policy will be helpful for the Indian need, okay, and the farmers. Okay, hope you got good points and you must have enjoyed the discussion. And like this, you need to keep a fine balance with data, your analysis, your observation. Okay, so let's meet in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.